have a guy who was actually there in Foxborough the last time that Tom Brady not just missed a game, but missed an entire season. His former fullback, Heath Evans, before we get into the meat of that discussion, just curious to get your initial reaction upon hearing that Brady was suspended for 4 games.
Well, I think it's a sad day for every young kid. I think it's a sad day for the NFL Shield. I think it's a sad day for fans of the game, period. I mean, because perception is reality. And so no one's ever going to really know the full, truthful details of what did or didn't happen. But the reality is now that a large group of the NFL fan base looks on a championship team and puts an asterisk by it. And we're going to have a Hall of Fame discussion 5 years after Tommy retires, and then those questions are going to come up again. And I don't think that's ever a good thing for our sport. And so I admit my bias to my former teams. You guys also know I grade the film week in and week out, and I call out Drew Brees and I call out Tom Brady with the best of them, probably more so when they do mess up. But it's hard to remove myself from a friend of Tom Brady, someone that you guys mock me because I call him Tommy. Another former teammate of mine went out and just said, hey, listen, my teammate, my friend, Tom Brady, I can't ever see him cheating and doing this. I kind of stand in that category. The evidence would say that maybe that speaks to the opposite, but still the man I know and the man that I would stand with no matter what he did, I have a hard time swallowing that pill.
But I know more than anybody, you believe in a level playing field
Absolutely.
For everybody out there. And I know Charlie Cashley, our general manager, says Tom Brady and the Patriots got off easy. But you think this penalty is too harsh?
Charlie said that, huh?
Yeah.
I think players like Ndamukong Suh get off too easy. I think a player that has a past of being a bully, something that our whole league stands against, kicking and punching and doing all this stuff in front of the whole world, and then our PA comes to his defense and they get his suspension removed, and yet he has a pattern of doing things in front of the whole world that is totally opposite of what our NFL Shield stands for. That's getting off easy. $1 million? That doesn't matter. I mean, this is a billionaire organization. The money aspect, I don't know. I always ask myself, in a court of law, would Tom Brady be found guilty? Not a stinking chance. So I know who I work for. I have strong opinions that I believe are somewhat biased because it's hard to remove your heart from the Patriots organization. And so I readily admit that. So I'll kind of hold some of my thoughts about how this whole thing went down. But the truth is, I've always stood with Roger Goodell and now Troy Vincent. I believe discipline is the best thing for our league. I believe when players mess up, when organizations mess up, I'm always on the side of discipline them harder, because for every young man that watched LT especially, and myself, and now these great NFL so-called warriors, I think it's great for the younger generation to see there are consequences for our actions. So I stand in the corner of Roger Goodell for trying to protect the Shield. Do I necessarily agree with the suspension? With the evidence that I've read and the way I understand it, hearing from the Patriots organization as well as hearing and reading the Ted Wells report, I would say no, I don't agree with it. But I do support Roger Goodell.
But do you think, because of the history of the Patriots organization in the past, that's probably the reason why this penalty came down so harsh?
Well, I think that affected it. I also think the fact that, Ted Wells and his group of attorneys just felt like they weren't forthcoming. I tend to look at us like we've all kind of joked about the cell phone thing, too. We understand why Tommy wouldn't. I've heard the Patriots side of it that, hey, the one trainer the one athletic trainer that they wanted to interview for the 4th time, no, we're not going to give him to you for a 4th time. You already had him 3 previous times. So there's always 2 sides of the story, but I go back to my initial comment. Perception is reality. Reality is now a Super Bowl championship team goes down with another, but they did this. Whether true or not, the perception is that they did, and that's bad for our game. I hate it for Robert Kraft. I hate it for Bill Belichick. I hate it for Tom Brady.
I understand he's your friend, and there's a difference between standing beside somebody that you've played with and that you believe in and believe is a good person versus evidence that we see out there. We've heard Michael Silver all show list that there were balls missing, that they were locked in the bathroom, that why would Tom Brady not know about that? Why would an assistant equipment person just take these balls and alter them himself? There is reality and there's a truth, and we won't really know what exactly happened, but how can you ignore that evidence as well?
I don't. I look at it and say if Tom Brady was going to do this, they all would have been dropped 0.25 or 0.80. They would have been, if Tommy was going to cheat, the Tommy Brady I know, we left no stone unturned in our week of preparation. When I went to the Saints, we were playing the Patriots, and I warned Sean Payton. I said, we're a better football team than the Patriots, but they will out-prepare us the way we're prepping and planning and practicing right now. We've got to get our team so motivated this week to outwork them, otherwise we will lose. This team, this coach, this quarterback, if there was going to be some system in play to cheat in my mind, knowing Tom Brady the way I do, every single one of those balls, there wouldn't have been like 0.02 and then 1.5. Those suckers all would have been perfect, spot on, because he wanted to. It's all about grip, right? Right? That's
Sure.
what everyone said, right? It's all about grip.
Sure.
So it's not going to be this huge, I guess, disparity between, maybe a pound or a pound and a half or 0.2. To me, there's all kinds of holes I could poke in this. But I go back to the same thing. Roger Goodell and Troy Vincent levied a penalty today. I will support that because I believe discipline is the best thing for our league. More importantly, it's the best thing for every young man at home watching that wants to be a superstar in the NFL one day. And so my bias, I know, skews my vision on this, so I try to remove myself from that. But there's all things that I can sit back and poke in and say, that doesn't add up to me.